The room was already buzzing with whispers. But when Jadakiss leaned in and dropped the words you played yourself to, Jim Jones, the air froze like glass, ready to shatter. What started as a casual studio link-up turned into an all-out verbal bloodbath that the hip-hop world never saw coming. Sources claim Styles P slammed his phone on the table so hard that even the engineers stopped breathing. Because this wasn't a debate, it was a takedown. Insiders say Jadakiss was livid about Jim Jones dragging Nas into street-level pettiness. Nas is an icon, a legend. "You don't touch his name unless you're ready for war," he allegedly snapped, his voice slicing through the room like a blade. Styles P backed him up with pure venom, accusing Jim of chasing clout and disrespecting the culture. And that's when it got ugly. Jim Jones, usually cool under pressure, reportedly tried to laugh it off, but the Locks weren't having it. Jadakiss stood up, pointing right at Jim and shouting, "This ain't Dipset versus Locks. This is respect versus self-destruction." The words hit like a bomb. Leaving, Jones stunned and silent while everyone else scrambled to pull out their phones. But here's the kicker: rumors are swirling that someone leaked audio from the confrontation. And if it drops, it could bury Jim's credibility for good. Social media is already in chaos, with fans picking sides, memes flying, and Nas's name trending like wildfire. And just when you think it can't get any worse, whispers suggest Jay-Z himself might have caught wind of the beef, and he's not happy about how Jim played this hand. The city was buzzing, but nobody expected the night to end like this. What started as another evening in a Manhattan studio quickly transformed into one of the most vicious confrontations hip-hop insiders claim they've ever witnessed. At the center of the storm was Jim Jones, walking into the room with that cocky Harlem stride, head held high, grinning like he owned the building. But across the room, Jadakiss sat with a glare that could cut steel, and Styles P leaned back against the wall, arms crossed, radiating an energy that screamed, "Tonight, somebody's reputation was getting destroyed." It all started when whispers began spreading about Jim's recent comments. According to the leaks, he had thrown Nas's name into the fire, dragging the legend into some petty street-level debate. Fans weren't having it. Twitter exploded, blogs lit up with headlines, and one insider claimed the Locks were boiling. They weren't going to let Jim skate on this by the time Jim arrived at the studio. Jadakiss and Styles P had already decided it was time to set the record straight. Once and for all, the tension was unbearable from the moment Jim opened his mouth. "Man, y'all making this bigger than it is," he laughed, brushing off the controversy like it was nothing. But the smirk only made Jadakiss's blood boil. He slammed his palm down on the table so hard the microphones rattled. "You played yourself," he barked, voice booming through the room like a gunshot. The sound froze everyone in their tracks. Engineers stopped fiddling with dials. Assistants stood frozen with food bags in hand. And in that instant, the entire studio knew they were witnessing a showdown that would echo across hip-hop history. Jim chuckled, trying to save face. "Man, y'all acting like Nas is untouchable. I'm just keeping it real." But that one line was gasoline on the fire. Styles P shot forward, finger stabbing the air in Jim's direction. His voice was sharp, venomous, keeping it real. "You disrespected a king. Nas paved the way for you, for us, for everybody in this game. You put dirt on his name? That's suicide." The words hung heavy in the air. For a moment, Jim's smile faltered and his eyes darted around the room. He wasn't laughing anymore. Jadakiss leaned in, his voice dropping low but cutting sharper than ever. "This ain't Dipset versus Locks. This ain't about beef. This is about respect versus self-destruction. And you just chose the wrong side." Phones were already out, cameras rolling. Someone was streaming the whole thing privately, and within hours, clips would leak online. But in that moment, it was raw, it was electric, and it was deadly serious. Jim tried to recover, pulling his hoodie tighter around his shoulders. "Y'all taking this too far? I didn't mean no disrespect to Nas, I was just speaking on what I see." But Jadakiss wasn't buying it. His laugh was cold, mocking, dripping with contempt. What you see. What you see is your own clout chasing. You don't pull a legend down to lift yourself up. That's cowardly. And then came the twist that nobody expected. A voice memo leaked to the blogs just hours after the confrontation. It was only a few seconds long, but it was enough to set social media ablaze. Jadakiss's words came through crystal clear. You played yourself, Jim. This ain't no rap battle. This is your career funeral. The snippet hit Twitter like a bomb. It's instantly trending under hashtags like hashtag Jim played himself and hashtag NAS forever. Fans went wild, posting memes of coffins with Dipset logos, clown emojis aimed at Jim, and side-by-side comparisons of NASA's accolades versus Jim's controversies. Within minutes, chaos erupted online. Instagram comments flooded with insults. Twitter threads dissected every bar Nas had ever dropped and compared them to Jim's discography, brutally painting him as an afterthought. TikTok creators made skits reenacting the confrontation, lip-syncing Jadakiss's "You played yourself" line with brutal accuracy. The internet wasn't just watching. It was devouring Jim alive. Inside the studio, the fire raged on. Styles P wasn't done. He stepped closer, practically nose-to-nose with Jim. We stood toe-to-toe with y'all in that versus. We went bar for bar, hit for hit, and we showed the world who really runs this. And now you want to throw NASA's name into the dirt? You're out here begging for relevance. His words cut deep, and Jim's face tightened. You could see the cracks forming. Desperate to turn the tables, Jim snapped back. Y'all ain't saints either. Don't act like locks never went at legends. Y'all had beef too. But the room erupted in laughter, not because it was funny, but because it was pathetic. Jadakiss shook his head slowly. Difference is, when we had beef, it was bars. It was respect. It was battle on wax, not disrespect on interviews. Don't twist history, Jim. You don't have the weight to rewrite it. By now, the walls felt like they were shaking. People in the hallway were pressing against the glass, trying to peek in. Security guards shifted uneasily, unsure whether this was about to explode into fists. Jim's entourage whispered among themselves, torn between stepping in and staying out of the Lox's way. Everyone knew nobody wanted smoke with Jadakiss and Styles P. When they were locked in like this, and then came the rumor that made everything spiral into chaos. Someone inside the room whispered that Jay-Z had already caught wind of Jim's NAS comments and he wasn't happy. The thought of Jatha, godfather of New York hip-hop, watching this mess unfold sent shivers down spines. If Jay stepped in, Jim wouldn't just be dealing with Jadakiss and Styles P, he'd be facing the wrath of the entire culture. The internet seized on the rumor instantly. If Hov speaks, Jim's finished, one viral tweet read. Fans speculated about whether Jay would drop a cryptic Instagram post or maybe even a subtle line in an upcoming verse. The possibility alone had Jim's name dragged further into the mud. While Nas fans celebrated the storm as a victory. Back in the studio, Jadakiss leaned back in his chair, smirking like a general who'd already won the war. Styles P shook his head, muttering, "This ain't even fun anymore. It's too easy." Jim sat in silence, shoulders slumped, realizing that no comeback line, no interview spin could erase what had just happened. But just as things seemed to calm, one of the engineers whispered that more audio had been recorded, audio that hadn't leaked yet. Word was, it contained Jim saying things even worse than what the blogs were already running with. If that tape dropped, insiders claimed it wouldn't just embarrass him, it would finish him. The cliffhanger was brutal, the room buzzing with anticipation. Everyone knew the confrontation wasn't over. If that second leak hit the internet, Jim's career might not survive the night. The whispers of the unreleased audio spread like wildfire. And within hours, the nightmare Jim Jones thought he could contain turned into a full-blown inferno. At 3:17 a.m., a 30-second clip surfaced on an anonymous Twitter account. The account had no followers, no profile picture, just one upload, Jim Jones' full tape. And that's when the internet lost its mind. The audio was grainy, But the voice was unmistakably Jim's. He was heard ranting in a heated backroom conversation.
Saying Nas
Ain't the king, man. Y'all overwrite him. He ain't never been Dipset level in these streets. Y'all worship the wrong rappers. The words hit like bullets. Fans froze in disbelief. Within minutes, the hashtag JimV's NAS skyrocketed into the global trending list. Twitter timelines became war zones. Nas fans pulled out every accolade, every lyric, every chart-topping moment to obliterate Jim's credibility. Screenshots of Illmatic reviews resurfaced. Memes comparing Jim's discography to Nas's legendary albums circulated ruthlessly. And then Jadakiss himself fanned the flames. He posted a cryptic Instagram story, "Play with Kings. Get burned like pawns." Styles P followed up with a tweet. "Respect the architects or get evicted from the culture." Neither tagged Jim, but everybody knew exactly who they were talking about. Jim's phone reportedly blew up. Insiders claimed he was pacing his Harlem condo at 4 a.m, slamming his fist against the wall. Calling managers and PR people begging for a strategy. But no strategy could erase what the world had just heard. Even Dipset fans started questioning their loyalty. One viral tweet read, "I love Jim, but disrespecting Nas. That's career suicide, period." And just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, a video surfaced on TikTok. Someone in the studio that night had recorded the face-off between Jadakiss Styles P and Jim Jones from a corner angle. The clip was only 12 seconds long, but it showed Jadakiss leaning in, jabbing his finger into the table and spitting the now iconic line, "You played yourself." The way the words echoed in the room, the intensity in his eyes, it was cinematic. Fans instantly dubbed it the studio coffin moment, claiming that was the instant Jim's career got buried alive. By sunrise, the clip had over 6 million views. TikTok duets flooded in, fans recreating Jadakiss's body language, influencers lip-syncing, "You played yourself," over clips of people failing at everyday tasks, even comedians using it as a punchline in skits. Jadakiss wasn't just trending, he was becoming a meme, a movement, a cultural weapon. Jim, meanwhile, was the internet's punching bag. The humiliation didn't stop there. Other rappers began chiming in. Meek Mill posted laughing emojis under a fan's meme about Jim. Busta Rhymes dropped a cryptic post, "Respect the pillars or crumble under the weight." Even Fat Joe, who had stayed quiet at first, went live on Instagram and said, "You don't play with Nas, bro. You just don't. That's like spitting in hip-hop's holy water." Jim bugged out with that one. But the biggest blow came when Nas himself broke his silence. At noon, his official Twitter account posted just 2 words, "Queens forever." No direct mention. No tagging, but the impact was nuclear. Fans erupted. The message was simple, defiant, and devastating. In 2 words, Nas made it clear he didn't need to argue. His legacy spoke for itself. And Jim Jones's words were nothing but dust against the empire. Meanwhile, Dipset's silence became deafening. Cameron posted a random clip of himself laughing in his car, not mentioning Jim, not mentioning the drama, but fans interpreted it as shade. Joel Santana liked a tweet that said, "Dipset better distance themselves quick." Insiders whispered about phone calls between Cam and Jim turning into screaming matches. Cam allegedly telling him, "You dragging us down, bro. You turned us into a joke." Back in the streets, Harlem wasn't forgiving either. Local DJs refused to spin Jim's records that weekend. One viral clip showed a DJ cutting off a Dipset song mid-play and switching to "Made You Look" by Nas, yelling into the mic, "We don't disrespect legends here." The crowd went wild, chanting Nas, "Nas, Nas," while cameras captured every second. That clip alone hit 2 million views in under 12 hours at this point. Jim was cornered, desperate. Insiders revealed he called a secret meeting with his closest circle to figure out how to flip the narrative. Some suggested an apology, others said double down and turn it into a beef, But Jim reportedly screamed, "I'm not bowing down to nobody." The arrogance that once made him a Harlem icon was now the same energy digging its grave deeper. And then came the betrayal nobody saw coming. A leaked group chat screenshot started circulating online, allegedly from within Jim's own crew. It showed heated messages. One contact, believed to be a longtime Dipset affiliate, wrote, "He's on his own with this NAS mess. We ain't backing it. Not worth the fire." Another message read, "Kiss and PR untouchable. We can't fight that." Fans dissected every line, claiming it proved Jim's own people were abandoning him by nightfall. The firestorm had spread to every corner of hip-hop culture. Podcasts were dissecting the beef line by line. YOUTUBE channels ran live streams with thousands of viewers debating whether Jim's career could recover. Some called it the biggest self-destruction moment since Ja Rule versus 50 Cent. Others said it was worse, because Jim had no chance of redemption against legends like Nas and the Lox. Even brands jumped in. A sneaker company that had worked with Jim quietly removed his promo from their website. One liquor brand unfollowed him on Instagram. The fallout wasn't just social, it was financial. The walls were closing in, and then the cliffhanger no one saw coming. Late that night, Styles P went live on Instagram. Thousands tuned in instantly, hungry for blood. He didn't hold back. With a calm but chilling tone, he said, "This ain't over. There's more y'all don't know. More tapes. More receipts. If Jim don't humble himself, we'll burn it all down." The comment section exploded with fire emojis and Nas lyrics. The internet braced itself for the next detonation. But what were these more receipts? What exactly did Styles P mean? Insiders hinted there were recordings of Jim saying even more inflammatory things, not just about Nas, but about other icons too. If those tapes leaked, Jim wouldn't just be at war with the Lox and Nas, he'd be blacklisted by the entire hip-hop culture. The night ended in chaos, the internet holding its breath. Everyone knew the next leak could decide Jim's fate forever. By the next morning, the hip-hop universe was on edge, waiting to see if Styles P's cryptic warning would materialize. And when the sun rose over New York City, didn't just bring another day, brought a nuclear leak that would change Jim Jones's legacy forever. At 8:13 a.m., a mysterious SoundCloud link began circulating in private Discord groups. It was labeled "Jim Unfiltered: The Lost Files." Within 30 minutes, Twitter was ablaze with frantic fans sharing snippets. The file contained over 4 minutes of Jim in a drunken rant inside the studio. And what he said made the Nas comments look like child's play. The tape revealed Jim mocking multiple hip-hop heavyweights. He called Jadakiss overrated, claimed Styles P never moved the streets like Dipset, and in the most shocking twist, he even threw shade at Jadakiss. Jay-Z, the very man Dipset once aligned with. "Hov ain't never give us nothing." Jim's voice sneered. "He used us. I built my name in Harlem, not off no Brooklyn favors." The internet imploded. Jay-Z stans flooded the timeline with fury. Memes erupted. Jim's face photoshopped onto Icarus, flying too close to the sun. Screenshots of Ether lyrics spammed under every post about him. And then the hammer drop tan, unverified but chilling text thread allegedly between Jay-Z and Nas surfaced. The screenshot showed Jay texting, "Let him drown. Queens plus Brooklyn forever." Fans went insane, believing the two rap giants had quietly united against Jim. Within hours, hip-hop media outlets ran headlines like, "Jim Jones declares war on legends," and from Dipset to Outkast, Jim's fallout gets ugly. Every podcast host, every YouTube commentator, every Twitter space was dissecting his downfall in real time. The comparisons grew darker, people said. Jim's meltdown was the Ja Rule moment of the 2020s, a permanent stain no comeback could erase. Meanwhile, Jadakiss and Styles P smelled blood in the water. They doubled down, releasing a fiery freestyle on Instagram Live. Over a gritty boom-bap beat, Jadakiss snarled, "Talk slick on Nas. Now your empire's glass. We shatter careers." One diss and you crash. Styles followed up. Legends don't beg. Legends don't bend. Play with the culture. It's your career's end. The freestyle spread like wildfire. Hailed as the funeral anthem for Jim's career. The betrayal continued inside Dipset. Cameron, who had stayed vague before, posted a single photo of himself wearing a Queensbridge hoodie while smirking into the camera. The caption: "Loyalty greater than greater than greater than." Fans lost their minds. Was this Cam siding with Nas? Was Dipset officially splintered? Juelz Santana fanned the flames by liking Jadakiss's freestyle clip and dropping a comment. Respect to the real. That was it. Dipset wasn't just silent. They were actively distancing themselves. Insiders claim Jim had a breakdown. One anonymous source described him screaming into his phone, accusing his crew of betrayal. He kept saying, "Y'all left me out here to die? After all I built, y'all just leave me." The source also revealed Jim was furious at Cam's hoodie stunt, allegedly shouting, "Cam always been a snake. Now the world sees it." But the collapse wasn't just personal. Business partners began pulling back. A sneaker brand canceled a collab launch. A club appearance in Miami was abruptly postponed. Even his longtime promoter reportedly sent him a text saying, "This Nas thing, it's too hot, bro. We can't risk it." Jim wasn't just losing fans, he was losing income. And then, the most shocking twist yet, a live reaction from Nas himself. At a Queensbridge charity event, a reporter asked him about Jim's comments. Nas chuckled, paused, and simply said, "Queens always wins." That short, smug reply hit harder than a diss track. Fans erupted online. Nas ended Jim with 2 words. "Queens always wins" instantly became a trending phrase, a cultural slogan, a digital obituary for Jim's reputation. Meanwhile, Styles P teased yet another nuke on Instagram Live. If y'all thought that was the only tape, wait until you hear the one with names we ain't even mentioned yet. The internet spiraled into conspiracy theories. Did Jim insult Busta? Did he go after Fat Joe? Was there a clip of him dismissing Tupac or Biggie? Speculation went wild, and the anticipation was worse than the leaks themselves. That night, things reached a fever pitch when Jadakiss posted a cryptic clip on his story, a coffin being lowered into the ground, with Dipset anthem playing faintly in the background. No caption, just the sound of dirt hitting the wood. Fans declared it the burial of Jim Jones. But Jim wasn't ready to go down without swinging. At 1 a.m., he went live on Instagram, re-dyed and furious, ranting into the camera. "Y'all want to clown me? Y'all want to act like Nas is untouchable? I said what I said. Harlem stand up, I ain't scared of no Queensbridge, no Yonkers, no Brooklyn." But instead of rallying his fans, the rant made things worse. Viewers flooded the comments with Nas bars, laughing emojis, and coffin memes. Within minutes, hashtags like #JimBuried and #Harlem Lost trended worldwide. Even celebrities joined the mockery. 50 Cent, never one to miss a chance at chaos, posted an old clip of Jim with the caption, "This you, champ. Lol, say goodbye." Cardi B tweeted a cryptic, "Queens forever," which fans took as another nod to Nas. Fat Joe went live with Remy Ma, shaking his head, saying, "You don't disrespect legends, man. This ain't it." The nail in the coffin came when a final leak emerged. A video clip of Jim in the studio, overheard saying Nas ain't been relevant since Ether. The backlash was nuclear. Memes flooded in comparing Jim's streaming numbers to Nas's Grammy wins. Fans circulated charts, stats, and accolades proving Jim's irrelevance compared to the legend he dared to mock. By sunrise, Jim's name was cemented in hip-hop infamy. Every outlet, every blog, every fan page had declared it. Jadakiss and Styles P had destroyed him. The phrase, "you played yourself," became a cultural epitaph. Jim's career hadn't just taken a hit, had been annihilated in public, in real time, by the very culture he once claimed to represent. The legend of Dipset was forever stained, and hip-hop would never look at Jim Jones the same again. And there you have it. Jadakiss and Styles P didn't just check Jim Jones, they buried him. What started as a simple jab at Nas spiraled into the ultimate self-destruction. With Dipset fractured, the culture united against him. And even legends like Jay-Z and 50 Cent chiming in. This wasn't just beef. This was a career-ending implosion that we all watched unfold in real time. But now I need to hear from you. Do you think Jim Jones can somehow recover from this nuclear fallout? Or is this truly the final nail in the coffin of his career? Can Harlem rally behind him? Or has Queens and Yonkers stamped him out for good? Drop your thoughts below because this debate is about to get even uglier in the comments, and listen. If you thought this story was explosive, wait until you see what's coming next. More leaks, more drama, more inside scoops the blogs are too scared to touch. Don't get caught slipping. Hit that like button right now, smash subscribe, and turn on all notifications because the next chapter in this saga could drop at any moment. And if you miss it, you'll be the last to know while the rest of the internet is already going crazy. This isn't just news. This is hip-hop history being written live, and you're either in the front row or left behind. So what's it gonna be?